begin our second session of the evening, this time using at 150 millimeter ED refractor, Eddy, the Skywatcher refractor on the Losman DG11 mount. What you're seeing here, of course, is what we started off with, I do believe, in our previous session using F4 Newtonian, fast Newtonian L Quattro. This is a 5-second exposure. I'll be staying with them throughout the evening as we are going to capture many of the same studies except the ones to the far north that we previously captured with El Quattro, but we're also going to go through more of the NGC series that heads south beginning at NGC 7100, and we'll fold into them the views we had through El Quattro. So here we have basically this is a 60x view because it's 20% e-zoom, and on F4 that's only 35x. On this, the F8, it is 60 to 70x. Let's do a quick zoom in up to the 150x version, which is at 50% on the F8, but as at 50% is 150x on the F8 refractor, and I have to go to 100% zoom to capture 150x on the F4. So that's enough of an intro for the evening. It is now 9:24 on the 15th of September 2025 with a superb sky overhead, presaged by blue depth, fall into blue skies on the day. So let's move on to our studies for the evening. Well, there is a galaxy in the field. The scope did an equatorial flip. There's a galaxy right here. This could, in fact, be NGC 7100. I'll give you the data on it. I am blown away that this galaxy turned up anywhere near the middle of the field because they usually have to synchronize to the east after synchronizing to the west. Let's go ahead and zoom in on it. 50%, we're just going to stay with that for the night, and I will just give you a description and we'll figure out whether or not it actually corresponds to what we're seeing on the screen. Well, I backed out because this is probably not our galaxy, because NGC 7100 is likely to be a fainter galaxy over here. Magnitude 14.7, 0.7 by 0.7 arc minutes, 375 million light years distant. Light ascension 2139.34 with a declination of +8 degrees, 52 minutes, 37 seconds. So what I'm going to do is assume this is our galaxy, and then I am going to do a synchronization, and we'll see if we actually return to see both these galaxies in the field. Well, ENIF wasn't very far away, and it didn't quite find the center of the field, but it looks like we are seeing the same set of galaxies here. So, however, this is supposed to be, and it's hard for me to believe that, because it centers up pretty much where ENIF was, our NGC 7100. So I will give you the data on it one more time. I don't really quite see that same faint galaxy in the field as I type this in. I'm going to play with the histogram. This is probably the 14th magnitude galaxy. This looks a little too bright for 5 seconds for me. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if we can perfect the histogram a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to pause out. The values on 7100, Galaxy Pegasus, magnitude 14.7, 0.7 by 0.7 arc minutes, 375 million light years distant, means about 80,000 light years in diameter, with a right ascension of 2139.34 and a declination of +8 degrees, 52 minutes, 37 seconds. Let's move on. Well, folks, NGC 7101 was a neighbor of NGC 7100. We're going to zoom in to 50%, 75x. Now, here's the part I can't get. This is supposed to be a magnitude 15.8 galaxy in Pegasus, 0.5 by 0.5 arc minutes. Well, the size looks about right, but it's probably this one here. However, that could be the blue-violet, which is based on photographs. So anyway, it could be as faint as magnitude or bright as magnitude 15. I suspect this is our NGC 7101, and this is the previous galaxy. It's a compact, 381 million light years distant, probably about 50,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 213934 with a declination of plus 8 degrees, 52 minutes, and 37 seconds. Right in the center of the field, we are seeing NGC 7102, a galaxy in Pegasus. This is our 75, our 150%, that's our 150x view. Magnitude 14.4, 1.6 by 0.9 arc minutes, spiral with a bar and a lowercase b, twice removed from lenticular, 218 million light years distant, probably as large as 100,000 light years across. Right ascension 21 hours, 39 minutes, 44 seconds, with a declination of plus 6 degrees, 17 minutes, and 9 seconds. Here we've gone deep south to Capricorn. Galaxy, magnitude 15, 1.4 by 1.2 arc minute, elliptical, 436 million light years distant, probably puts it about 175,000 light years in diameter. There are several galaxies visible there. 1.4 by 1.2, which means it's probably got a fairly, it's going to be magnitude 16 average surface brightness. It surprises the heck out of me. We're at 21 hours, 39 minutes, 51 seconds with minus 22 degrees, 28 minutes, 24 seconds. Let's push it up to 150x. There's a galaxy there, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there. Who knows which one it is, but at least we've captured the data. Here we have another galaxy in Cap. 150x seems to be entering right up in the middle of the field. It's magnitude 15.7 by 0.6 arc minute, elliptical, 432 million light years distant, probably about 100,000 light years in diameter. We're at 21 hours, 40 minutes, 30 seconds with a declination of minus 22, 25, 28. A little further north now, but still in Capricorn. I think we're looking at this galaxy here. It's magnitude 13.3. Yeah, makes sense. 1 by 0.5 arc minutes, lenticular spiral, 248 million light years distant, right ascension 214141, with a declination of minus 10, 3807. This one's probably about 70,000 light years in diameter, and that's my candidate right there. All right, I've cleared the stack several times now. We've obviously got something moving through the field in some kind of progression march. Anyway, we're looking over here probably to NGC 7108 Galaxy in Aquarius. It's also NGC 7111. Magnitude 14.4, 1.4 by 0.9 arc minute elliptical, 304 million light years distant, probably, boy, those things are quite marching across the field, aren't they? Any of them make a right-hand turn, we've discovered a true UFO. 304 million light years distant, probably puts it at about 125,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 214153, declination minus 64232, and all those things are moving through the field at 9:46 p.m. Okay, we're at NGC 7112. It's going to take some magnification. You can see a faint galaxy there. Let's see if it makes sense. It's magnitude 14.3, 1.2 by 0.4 arc minutes. Yes, that's definitely it. Spiral with a lowercase ab, 1.5 times removed from the lenticular, 263 million light years distant, probably about 80,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 214223 with a declination of plus 12, 2955. Okay, a little ways away with NGC 7113, pushing it up. You can see it there. Galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 15.2. That's brilliant. Come on, I cannot believe how deep we're going tonight. It must be something else on the field. Maybe this one right here. 0.9 by 0.9 arc minute elliptical, 263 million light years distant. No, that's our elliptical. This is an edge-on spiral. Right ascension 2142.26, declination plus 12, 34.08. What I believe we're seeing here, let's check out the data, is NGC 7115, a galaxy in Pisces Australis, magnitude 14. Yeah, that's probably it. It's 1.7 by 0.4 arc-minute spiral with a lowercase b, 156 million light years distant, probably 75,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 2143.38, declination minus 25.2104. That tells you what kind of night we are having. Okay, we're well overhead in a brilliant view of the night sky. Pushing it to 150x, we're seeing NGC 7116, galaxy in Cygnus, magnitude 13.3. Kind of edgy on, 1.1 by 0.4 arc-minute, suboblate, spiral with a lowercase bc. Good thing we're seeing it edge on. 163 million light years distant. So probably about 50,000 light years in diameter, maybe 60. Right ascension 2142.40 with a declination of plus 28.56.17. Okay, I just centered up NGC 7120, a galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 15. Oh my, that's amazing. Probably a 14th magnitude visual, 0.8 by 0.4 arc-minute, spiral with a lowercase b, twice removed from lenticular. So maybe 14.3, 300, excuse me, 5 million light years distant, maybe 80,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 2144.33 with a declination southern, a point of 6 degrees, 31 minutes, 26 seconds. Here we have NGC 7121, galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 14, 1.1 by 0.6. That works for me. Spiral with a lowercase bc, 368 million light years distant, probably about 110,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 2144.52 with a declination slightly southern of 3 degrees, 37 minutes, 12 seconds. What we have here is an open cluster, a small sprinkling of stars, only 3 arc-minutes in size, which means it's probably this grouping right here. It's NGC 7127. It's an open cluster, 3 arc-minutes in size, with no specificity in Adventures in Deep Space as to its magnitude. That's probably because it may very well be an asterism. I don't know. That's a beautiful view. Let's zoom in just to about 75x. The stars look very good. The background sky is nice. Very pretty picture. Pretty bright star here, probably magnitude 6 or maybe even a little brighter. Okay, what we're seeing here is NGC 7128. It is an open cluster. It does have a collective magnitude of 9.9, and it is a mere 3 arc-minutes in size. Let's do a little zoomage, at least to 75x, which is 50% zoom, center it up in the field. I love the dark background sky. It works great with stars. You can optimize for aesthetics using the histogram, whereas you have to play a little bit in order to tease out those galaxy features. This is supposed to be an open cluster, but it may very well be an asterism. However, this is obviously a cluster here, which is surprising to me. This is supposed to be 8 by 7 arc-minutes, which means it would be a bit larger. Let's zoom in. Maybe we can bring out more stars. This is where we centered up, and we've been doing a pretty good job of centering, so it has to be this. Ooh, is that a double star there? That one looks really tight and small. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Yeah, that is pretty there. There's some luminosity around this as well. Fascinating. This may be a starbirth cluster because there is definitely a luminosity around this primary star. It wasn't noted to me. Remember, we're only operating at 5 seconds exposure. I could push it up, and let's have a look at it at 10, just to see if there is nebulosity there. Okay, here is our 75x view. We obviously have a new birthing cluster here with nebulosity. Wow, I love it when we adventitiously stumble on something. We got a bright central progenitor star. It has a very faint star forming near it. Looks a little diffuse with some nebulosity going out in this direction here, which I believe is east and to the north. We have several other stars forming here. They may be foreground, however. But this is our birth cluster here. What a nice discovery this evening. And 10-second exposure time confirms it. 150x view of NGC 7131, and apparently a companion. Galaxy in Capricornus, magnitude 14, 1.7 by 1 arc-minute, lenticular spiral, 245 million light years distant. Puts it at about maybe 110,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 2147.36 with a declination of minus 13 degrees 10 minutes 57 seconds. Here we are having a look at NGC 7132, Galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 14.6, with a 1.1 by 0.7 arc minute apparent size, spiral with a lowercase c. Not much of a core, but there is a core on that, so we got extensions. 367 million light years distant, puts it about 100,000 to 110,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 2147.16 with a declination of plus 10 degrees 14 minutes 28 seconds. All right, one of the brighter galaxies through Eddy tonight, NGC 7137. We got a couple of brighter ones through El Quattro to the north. Galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 12.4, 1.6 by 1.1, obviously a face-on. You'd expect it to be several times removed from a lenticular. It is. Spiral with a bar and lowercase c. 77 million light years distant, probably no more than 30,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 2148.13 with a positive declination of 22 degrees 9 minutes 34 seconds. NGC 7138 is another galaxy in Pegasus. Flying horse, it certainly is flying high tonight. Magnitude 14.1, 1.2 by 0.5 arc minutes. Yes, we got that aspect ratio. Spiral with a bar and lowercase a, 375 million light years distant, maybe 110,000, 120,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 21 hours 49:01, declination plus 12 degrees 30 minutes 49 seconds. Okay, what we're getting here is a 10-second exposure of a 13.4 magnitude planetary nebula, 86 by 75 arc seconds in size. I am going to go ahead and zoom it in to 75x. The background sky looks pretty good. Let's push it to 150. Now remember, this is a 10-second view, exposure time view, multi-stacked. What I'm going to do is drop back to 5 seconds again, because I want to capture all these NGCs in the 71 to 7149 series at 5 seconds. Some will be in El Quattro, most will be in Eddy, the 150 f8 ED refractor. Here we have our 5-second exposure, which means we lost about 0.8 magnitudes in reach. Still a nice view, although I did have to change the histogram. We seem to be vaguely seeing a central star here. There's quite an obvious frontier to this planetary nebula. Some nice coloration, bluish to the center and rougish to the perimeter. Very nice view. Okay, we have one more NGC in the 7100 to 7149 series that we're going to view, and then we will be making some comparisons with the Eddy's views of these same studies later on. Clearly, NGC 7142 is that open cluster that we saw when we discovered the nebulosity around a previous study, which I believe was 7129. Nice sprinkling of stars, 5-second exposure time. We'll do a little zoomage and maybe capture them both in the same field. 5-second view, 5-second view. NGC 7142, NGC 7129, an open cluster forming, an open cluster well formed. NGC 7146, a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 14.3, 1 by 0.6 arc minutes. That looks kind of edgy on there. Maybe it's one of these others here. Have to check Steve Gottlieb for guidance on that. Magnitude 14.3, spiral with a bar, lowercase ab, 391 million light years distant, probably about 100,000 plus light years in diameter. Right ascension 215147, declination plus 3 degrees and 59 seconds. Maybe that one. Okay, not much of a hop to our next study. This is NGC 7147, and I forgot to call it up to give you the data. It's going to take a few seconds here. I've been really pushing really hard to see if I can't get all of these in within a 20-minute cycle, because I've discovered I can get as much as 20 minutes using the snipping tool on my HP laptop running Windows 10. 7147's Galaxy and Pegasus, magnitude 13.5, 1 by 0.9 arc minute, spiral with a bar, lenticular A, so it's a half time removed from a lenticular. 412 million light years distant, puts it probably somewhere around 120,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 21 hours 51:58, a declination slightly north, 3 degrees 4 minutes 17 seconds. Oops, left this thing running. Scope almost ran off on me. Okay, NGC, our last in the series, 7100, 7149. This is 7149. Galaxy and Pegasus, magnitude 13.1. Probably this one right here. It's 1.3 by 0.9 arc minute elliptical. Yeah, that looks pretty much like a globular cluster. 384 million light years distant, puts it at about 125,000 light years in diameter. Pretty large for an elliptical. Right ascension 215211 with a declination of 3 degrees 18 minutes 3 seconds. And with this view, I'm going to go ahead and zoom it to 300x in order to be able to make the statement. Sorry about the bloated stars, temperature changes, etc., etc. It's hard to get perfect focus. You have to shift to a different viewing program. But despite all that, let's make it a little more aesthetic. We'll drop back down to 20% view, 60, 70x, and say Carpe Noctem.